Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's your boy JC. I'm in the mood, love, yeah. Lately I've been constantly thinking about you, babe. You drive me crazy, yeah. And girl, I want this. Got me all up in my feelings. Oh, what a feeling, yeah. I knew the first time I laid eyes on you that you would be here forever. I'm not being arrogant, and I still can't take my eyes off you. Cause you made me better, so much better. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, baby. I love your kindness. I love your confidence.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday and welcome to the Marriage Shop with Mike and Wendy. It's good to see y'all again this week. Actually, to be here live. Some of you may know last week. So, I've been doing some traveling and I'm back. So anyway, go ahead.
Hey guys. So we're back in, we're still in Evans, Georgia, and it's a little bit chilly out here tonight. So I'm going to stop giving you weather updates because you may not be in Evans, Georgia, and you may not care how hot or cold or warm it is. But we're glad you guys could join us tonight in the Marriage Shop. We sent out a couple of invites, and this one is kind of open for all women or men or single or married or in a relationship. I think it kind of applies to quite a few people. So Antoinette Brunson, you get the gold star for being the first one to jump on tonight. And we're glad you're
Welcome.
with us. Lisa McNeil, thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Rosita Hunter, yes. Gwen Cherry,
What?
oh yes. You
Bunny,
came for the music. We'll
what's
play it
up?
again. So
we
stay
definitely
for the
gonna play it
music.
again. Yeah.
Sonica Kamahusa, yes. Our celebration family.
What's up, bro?
So glad you could join us tonight.
Absolutely.
So we're just really thankful, grateful, and blessed. We've had, as you know, a busy couple of weeks. We launched our single. We debuted it here last week on Monday. You guys have been sharing it. You've been listening to it. It went live or it dropped on Friday at midnight, just in time for Sweetest Day. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to listen to it. We'll play it again a little bit later. And we want you to go out and get it. It's 99 cents.
Come on now.
Wherever you buy music.
Yeah, and shouts out to JC
yes.
and his team.
It's your boy JC.
Yeah, amazing
yes.
talent. And and we're just blessed that he believes in what we're doing and just took the time to do something that he could have done for anybody. I mean, literally, like, people who millionaires or, people who do this for a living. But he did it for us. So that's a blessing.
Yeah, we are JC and Marcus and the whole
SQ.
crew. Yeah. So I don't know. We're just so abundantly blessed and thankful. Thomas Stokes, thanks for joining us.
What's
and
up,
Tamisha Kinlock Carter, I do want to give you a shout out. And I will a little bit later in terms of something she put out today. So, she has so you're married now, what? And it's, I can see it. Tamisha, drop it in there. And it's like, it's always in the top of my mind, but I can never get it out. But if you'd like to share that, please share that information. You guys, you have to check out her page and her services, especially if you're planning to get married anytime in the near future. So we're glad you're here, but anyway, I'll just go ahead and share it. So she put out a post today that she put out a challenge and she called it Massage Mondays. A woman after my own heart. And what she said was she challenges you to take 5 minutes today to give to each spouse, give their spouse a massage. And then she talks about the benefits of doing that. So check her out, Tamisha Kinlock Carter.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's actually great advice.
Yes.
Who gets to go first? That's what I want to know. Cause
Yeah.
you know what? I'm lying. I go first because I mess around. I get my massage and I'm like, you know what?
You're
Ooh,
sleepy. Yes.
sleepy.
Yes.
So
Keldrick Hike, thanks for joining us. Yes, FMTY Mary. I know. And I'm like, why can I never think? I can always see the letters FMTY.
mhm.
But anyway, thank you for sharing that, Tamisha. Yeah, so for the rest of you that are joining us or just joining us or joining us for the first time, we're Mike and Wendy. We're in the Marriage Shop. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. And hey, guys, we want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have our top 10 playlist and we added our song to it. So you get an opportunity. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. It only takes a couple of seconds. We just want to be able to connect with you. And we've been told by many people that they have friends or family that are not on Facebook at all. And so YouTube is just another way to be able to watch our videos after they've aired, to watch us live, and then to get those extra special goodies when we create our top 10 playlist, because some people just come for the music.
Yeah. And so make sure, go there, subscribe there, share that page, share the song. And we're learning a lot about how music works. The plan actually was not to release a song, right? The plan was just that we needed a song that went along with this, a song or two that went along what we were doing here. And then it was like, whoa. Yes. We can't just like sit on this, right?
Yes.
And so, but the way it works is pretty interesting. So we just want you to just share it with other people.
Yeah. You know? And Sonica, message Mike. He wants to play it on his Friday set.
Okay.
Yes. So message Mike. We'd be glad to share that with you. And Camilla Freeman, hey family, always glad when you take some time to drop in and share with us. Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight?
Well, tonight if anyone saw last week's broadcast, we made a promise that we're going to do a 2-part series, right? I was hesitant about say a promise, but I'm like, boom, we're going to do it. Yeah. We're talking about taking your marriage to the next level. And so we covered a couple of things. There were 4 to cover, right? The first were, determining what level you're on, like we talked about owning it. We talked about stopping it, like owning it being owning what you do, having some humility when you make a mistake, etc., owning your mistakes. And then stopping whatever the behavior is, right? Having some accountability, some self-control, etc. And this week, we're going to finish those next 2. However, we call it an audible, which we will do from time to time. So if you are really on the edge of your seat waiting for those last 2, here you go, rapid fire, pay close attention.
But come back next week because we're going to hit them in more detail.
Maybe. See, she just made another promise. You never know. But,
I did.
But so own it, stop it, right?
Yes.
The next 2 we're going to be to
repair. And those were internal.
Correct. Those are all work that you do on yourself. The next thing was going to be to repair it, right? Now it's time to turn outward, again, with humility, to seek grace, right? Ask for forgiveness, et cetera. And for the person who has been offended and who is being asked to forgive, to exercise grace, exercise empathy, and the understanding that none of us are perfect, right? So that's part of one of the first steps in repairing if you've made an error. And so you own it, you stop it, you repair it.
Yes.
Well, then you grow it, right? And so that's about the vision. It's about where's your relationship going. Yeah. It's about inserting some excitement. It's about nurturing and care, right? That's growing because it creates this space where mistakes can happen. You can overcome them quickly, where you have ideas and dreams that you can come together and accomplish together.
Yeah.
Growing it, right?
Yeah. So growing it is the active part.
That is active, right? And so, and growing, if you do that right, it bolsters you, right? Mistakes are going to happen, but the recovery is faster if you focus on growing. Yes. Especially when times are, when there is no or little stress, when there's not a lot of things going on. A lot of times people will take their foot off the pedal, right? No, just continue to grow and to pour in.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about those some more in depth and kind of do a recap next week. But there are a couple of things that happened this week that kind of dropped in another topic for us. And so we're kind of pivoting a little and doing something a little different tonight. But I wanted to say hey to Gloria Hamilton, Jessica Jones, and Karen McCoy Newsom. Glad you ladies could drop in and share with us in the shop tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. So welcome, y'all. And so I came home the other day and the radio was on and Neo, Miss Independent was on. And for some reason, it was just kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. I don't.
Why?
Well, that's what I had to ask myself, because it's not enough for me to stop. Like, you know what? I'm annoyed. I'm irritated, and something is off. I have to kind of understand and pursue that.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know, I never really have cared too much for the song. Too much. I mean, it's just, they play it a lot. It's okay.
Yeah.
But this thing in particular, I'm like, what is it? And so, because the song is Miss Independent, right?
Yep.
And the chorus is, she's got her own thing. That's why I love her, Miss Independent. Won't you come spend a little time, etc.
Yes.
Right. And so so I went and asked Wendy. I'm like, so tell me about independence and how it fits with married life. You know, as a woman, what is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
Is that appealing? Is that what people seek? Or I don't know, where should we be on that? So that's really, so I think the idea of because to me, I'm thinking independence, literal independence, right?
Yeah.
And what all that means. And then kind of listening to the lyrics of the song, you know, got your own job, got your own car, and you know, you don't really come to me and ask me for anything. And that's why I love you. Right. And I'm like, okay, I mean, fine, I guess. And so, but I don't know. So I was talking to Wendy about that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think specifically you asked me, is it important to me to be an independent woman? I think that was what you asked. And so it kind of felt like it was a loaded question at the time, especially since I was kind of in the bed on my phone. So I'm like, how do I answer this one? And I want to be careful to answer it, but you bring up a good point, because we've shared before, and I speak to a lot of women at different conferences and events, and there's this whole thing around how we were, you know, generationally, how we were raised, and how a lot of us were taught as we were growing up to be independent women, and, you know, to make sure that you're able to take care of yourself. And for many of us, and not all, because we're many generations represented here tonight. But for many of us, our parents were the ones who maybe for the first time, both parents worked. And so some of us were latchkey kids. And so then that example kind of perpetuated some other things. And so that kind of starts that whole thing. But before I get to that, I wanted to say hey to Mary Campbell, Ashley Key, Lynn Lou Williams, Lisa Prescott Calzaretta. Happy belated anniversary to you guys.
They went to our anniversary spot.
Yes, I know.
That's crazy.
We love that spot up in the mountains. Zelda Gant, and Teflon Don, that's my cousin. Hey, shouts out to you. So thanks, guys, for joining us. I think there was, Xavier Lucky Sr. I wanted to make sure I got him in there too. So so this whole idea of being independent and being able to take care of yourself and having a job and having a place and having a car and all those things, that was kind of ingrained. So if that was true for you, drop that in the comments. How many of you out there were raised that way? How many of you were raised by the women in your family or your moms or grandmothers who said, hey, it's so important that you be independent and here's what you need to do. So we want you guys to drop that in the comments before we get into how I responded to you and talk about this thing about, can you be an independent woman and married?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And, your response to that initially was kind of funny. I'm like, nah, this is not a trick question. I just... I'm just wondering, but I think what you were talking about, the idea, because, we start off, and certainly it was the same in my family. A lot of times daughters are, start off trying to help them to understand, how to make it, to take care of yourself. And if you're going to go away to school like you did, how do you prepare this young lady to do what she needs to do? And it seems like, as I was listening to that song, now it really kind of zoomed out and was just kind of taking in information just from around me, what you read in papers, what you see on television, what you read on the internet. And it's funny reading papers. I haven't read a paper in a long time, but it seems like that concept it goes from, preparing a young lady to be on her own and single for a minute or whatever to hey, this is life. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you got to be ready. And oftentimes, when you said, we're often taught, well, all of us, we're taught by somebody, right? Oftentimes parents, but for the person who's doing that teaching, like who's doing the teaching, right? And what's their experience? Because oftentimes that teaching is based on experience. It's kind of why I don't allow a lot of people to speak to my daughters if I hear it about their plan B.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I need you to go all in on plan A. And if you fall, then we'll dust you off and we'll figure it out. But I don't need you to get a whole degree as a backup plan. I need you to like follow your dream and your passion, right? And so in the same way, sometimes I think people will send certain messages to their kids, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to, be in case this doesn't work out, you need to be able to.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to be able to, I mean, it's kind of like having something to fall back on, or being able to say that you don't need anybody, right? That you have your own, you can take care of yourself and all of these things, right? And just in case it doesn't work out, then you're not left not knowing how to handle the finances, for example, or not knowing where anything is, which was the experience, unfortunately, for a lot of the prior generations. Yeah. So when we look post-depression and even beyond that, further back, it was the men really did control everything. They controlled all the money, they controlled insurance. And so if something happened to the man, then often these poor widows were left not knowing how to find or do anything. And so because that was their experience, then that follow-on generation was like, not us, not happening. So now we need to figure it out and make sure that if anything happens, if my husband goes off to war and doesn't come home, that I would be able to know where everything is and be able to take care of ourselves. Unfortunately, that translated to divorce. If it doesn't work out, then I can, make it on my own or prove that I can make it on my own. And then that kind of birthed a generation and generations of young women who were like, it's kind of cool on my own. I mean, all I need is me, myself, and I'm doing this. And I saw something, and so many of you have probably seen this quote too, where it said that young women of today have become the men that they want to marry.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You heard that, right?
Yeah, I did. I hadn't even, that's crazy. Wow. Okay. So
they are providers. They are protectors. They are self-sufficient. They are bold. They're courageous. They are all those things.
And it seems like, and there's a lot of value in those things. And so when you talk about marriage and what marriage traditionally is, I mean, you're asked to give up your name in many cases, right? Yeah. And some people are hyphenating, but it's like that name is a big deal. And then you're asked to oftentimes in that traditional sense, right? Everybody's working. Well, somebody, when these kids start coming, somebody's going to have to like make a decision, right? And so a lot of times, and I keep saying traditionally because there are always exceptions, and there's other things happening, even more so as we move forward in history. But so there's all these expectations, and even the way your career started with somebody saying, "Hey, well, you can't be a good wife and a good mother and a good soldier
at your job
all at the same time." Yeah, all that is a lot of pressure, right? And all the expectations. Gloria Hamilton says she thinks that perhaps they are confusing independence with maturity in terms of what people might really mean. So maybe,
and I think codependent is also another thing which. We're not really going to get to that codependence piece.
You mean like interdependence? You mean codependence as in like the okay? Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I think that's what she has. And
no, that's couple. Okay, got it.
And Jessica says she recently read a lot about women being super independent, being a trauma response, and it makes so much sense. Yep. And that is true too. Again, kind of speaking to what happens if. In an unfortunate situation where maybe you're in a long-term committed relationship and then something happens and you're left alone, or the unfortunate circumstance of divorce, or whatever the situation, or if someone dies. I mean, all of those things can thrust you into a period of being and having to be completely independent. And it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, well, it's a survival thing,
that's
right?
Good.
Because death. Well, I'm sorry, divorce rather, in terms of the extent of trauma. And it's interesting that she used that term because it is true. Divorce actually ranks right up there under death of a spouse in terms of the trauma that it might inflict on someone. So it makes sense that if either you've experienced divorce or you've been around, maybe you grew up in a family where there was a divorce, it makes sense that you would have a default mode of making sure that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make sure I got me, and whatever else happens, but I'm going to keep this peace because there's safety in that.
Yeah, and what that translates to is that secret bank account. Or a stash somewhere, or sometimes, unfortunately, it can manifest itself as that woman or that person not being willing to fully open themselves up or make themselves vulnerable because they are prepared for and really kind of buffering themselves against abandonment. And so you really kind of have to look at that. So we could take that all the way down that end of the spectrum, but let's bring it all back here. So a lot of you have shared a little bit. I mean, and I know most of you, and I know that many of you are independent women, and you're proud of it. Camilla Freeman says she was raised to always have her own everything. That's right. Own mind, own money, own place. Own decisions, all of that, and being proud of that. And like you said, having value in that. Tamisha Kinlock Carter says she meant that's how her father and mother raised her. And that's true. April Harris said, independent, but humble enough to allow someone to care for you as well. That's great. Lisa Calzaretta says, I became independent by circumstances, had my first child at 16, lost my mom shortly after, had to grow up quickly. And with that, learned to be independent. I carry that with me today. And thank you for sharing that. And so many of us have that same experience. And so Jessica, we love you. We love you're here because you keep it all the way real, girl. And she says, I have and will continue to raise my girls to not need a man because be independent, be self-sufficient, and know how to provide for their children alone, worst case scenario. And so again, the prior generation kind of influencing and encouraging and supporting the next generation so that they don't suffer or experience the same that the previous had. And so for all the right reasons, I think that's good. And then Gloria says, but doesn't a plan B possibly give you permission to put less effort in on plan A? And Gloria, that speaks exactly to what I was saying in terms of having that buffer in place and maybe not allowing yourself to be vulnerable or comfortable in a place that means that you're depending on someone else. And so when we really kind of look at that and talk about it, does independence mean that you are not dependent? Okay, so
oh snap! That was like, whoa! That you mess around and blow my mind. That is so funny. Wow. Does independence mean that you are not dependent? I gotta let that marinate for a second, right? Lisa had mentioned like that she doesn't like that song too much either. He kind of let dudes off. He thinks he's giving himself permission to get off the hook. Maybe that's what it sounds like to me too. It's like, what do you worry about what she has? Why are you worried about what she got? Just be you, show up. You know what I mean? Come on, brothers. So,
interesting. Yeah. And Carla Vidal, hey, we are always so glad when you take some time and join us. You are always welcome here in the shop. We miss you so much. And Gloria says in the song version, yes. Oh, yes. Sure. Yes. So she explains what couple-lendance, when a married couple functions as a team, but understand the importance of one another. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for defining that for us. And then yes. She said, what a good question. Carla Vidal says, I have been independent for a long time since a divorce. However, it's been a blessing for me to take care of my family. I'm waiting on my husband that the Lord will send my way. In the meantime, I will continue taking care of my household. Yes.
That's what's up. Exactly right.
Yes.
The idea of, because I see this idea of dependence in kind of three different areas. So a lot of people, they see independence, because I think you're onto something, right? Independence is an indicator that I am not dependent. I don't need you for survival. Yeah. Right. I think marriage is more about what I'll call interdependence. Yeah. The husband, the wife, right? If the marriage is going to function, then it requires that there's some level of interdependence. Okay. Kind of like in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 type way. Okay. That's chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. That's the one that you all will be familiar with, that says two are better than one,
Yeah.
because they get a good return for their labor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read through this whole little section because I think this is important.
Mm-hmm.
If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up.
Yeah.
Also, if two lie down together, they will be warm. They'll keep warm. Yes, they will. And then, but how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And that cord of 3 strands is thought to speak to having God in that relationship.
Yes.
Right. But that whole thing there is about an interdependence. And so that scripture, it's read in a lot of contexts, but I think it applies directly to marriage, if marriage is what you want to have. Like, because what does plan B do? Does it give you permission to slack on plan A? Maybe, or maybe it robs energy and effort from plan A. Maybe it changes the options if there's a plan B. Right. And so, but some people will say, to go all in on that relationship, there's too much to give up. And so they want to kind of hold on.
Yeah, I think that comes back to sacrificing too. And I can say that, based on conversations with a few of my friends who have young adult daughters, that many of them are not even talking or thinking about marriage.
Yeah.
That it's not, and coming off the heels of a pandemic, not only are young women not thinking about marriage, but they're now opting and saying that they're not going to have children. And so it's an interesting shift that we're experiencing based on, right now circumstances. But the truth is, can it go too far? Right. And so what we model, what we say, what we model, and then what we encourage should be all the same. But it could be 3 different things. And what matters at the end of the day is that, that they know our hearts and that they know our intent, because you may indirectly influence younger women, to do things and to live in such a way that you never intended, just based on what you say, how you say it, and how you're living your life.
Yeah.
And so if you have been married for 50 years, and you've been miserable the whole time, and you've complained the whole time, and what you say is, I had to give up everything in order to support this marriage, and I gave up my hopes and my dreams, and I was going to do this, and then I got married and I had children. If you're that person and that is your narrative, then just consider how that's being received. And I'm not saying don't say that, because that may be your truth, but I just want you to kind of look at it from a full, from a 180, from the other perspective. That doesn't make it seem desirable to get married. Yeah. It doesn't make it seem like you are enjoying this life. And so as you described it, marriage does require sacrifice, because we talked about that. You didn't say sacrifice, but it does require sacrifice. Yeah. And in this case, it may require sacrificing your independence.
Yeah, you're quote unquote independent, because I think of independence as being, well, okay. How does it manifest? What does it look like? And thanks, Dad, for that shout out. He said, you have to rely on God first and each other second. Yes. So independence. What independence from what? Because the word also says that, and me and Dad were talking about this week. Yeah. I revel in my weakness, right? Like I recognize that I am inherently weak and flawed and everything. And so the more that I recognize that, then the more I'm able to really kind of rely on God to help me do whatever it is I'm doing. And so is it like truly independence? Is that the goal, or is it allowing the Spirit to work through you? But still, but the way that a lot of people conceive it, it is true independence. I'm not going to give up that phone. I'm not going to get a combined phone plan. I'm not combining bank accounts with you, because I never know what might happen. I'm not going to, like combine our car payment. No. I'm going to keep all those things just in case. That's what sometimes it looks like, right? Once people enter into a marriage. And so if that's what it looks like, if we're kind of operating like roommates, where okay, let's split this bill down the middle, or I mean, because there are some couples, and if this is
Get
you,
to the finances.
not trying to be judgmental,
Yeah.
all right, but this is it's just the reality where some couples will go to the extent of like when they're going to lunch or dinner, they will like swap who pays so they can kind of keep it balanced.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What? I mean, that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that about? It's about maintaining like autonomy and control of my peace.
Yeah.
Right. And so now also, again, there are always reasons, right?
Yes.
Some people have decided to do that because the history is you jacked up the credit. And so now we got to kind of like keep you contained. Got that. We're not talking about that's another talk, right?
Yeah, but what do we talk about? It's not your spouse's job to do what?
To heal you, I think.
Is that what it was?
I think
yes, that was one of them, but it was another one. But I think it kind of goes back to that, and all of this goes back to expectations, right? And so, am I expecting that, from a very young age, I need to be independent, I need to have my own, I need to revel in having my own mind, my own money, my own time, and then marry somebody. When I'm getting married to somebody, is my expectation that I now give all that up. And I think that a lot of people say, well, if I have to give that up, then I'm not going to get married. Or if I have to give that up, then I may not be happy in a marriage, or I can't be happy in a marriage if I have to give up my own identity. And identity and independence, sometimes I think people use both of those too, right? Am I my own person now that I'm married to you? And once I'm married to you, and if we have children, now I'm so far removed from who I was, right? And so then I'm grieving and I'm mourning the woman that I was. I mean, that's a lot of what I hear when people share. And it's like, okay, so time out. Let's really talk about what we're talking about here.
Okay,
right?
what are we talking about?
No, I mean, in those conversations. So what we're talking about, well, let's see what Ashley Key is talking about. Then I'll come back to that. But Ashley says, experience has taught me that I can be independent if I have to be. Honestly, I enjoy not having to exercise that level of independence because my husband is the greatest. But I'm realizing now that my definition of independence is different now that I'm married than when I was single. She said it all right there. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say, Ashley. That's exactly it. And it is a different type, or, it's not all or none. And I think that it is necessary for us to distinguish that, right? So we're not just saying you either need to be completely and 100% independent, or you need to be completely and 100% dependent. And I think when you choose to get married, it can be a blend of the two, but can you be completely independent and be married? I would say not 100%.
Not 100%. Not if the two are one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's marriage is like, two individuals becoming kind of one entity. Yeah. So, no, but prior to that, because and Carla said that as a single parent, she'll continue dating and enjoying relationship, friendship until I find my king. That's good. Dating is not easy. It's not easy, right? And I think some people will give up that autonomy maybe too early in a relationship, where maybe this is not the one. Maybe he's not the one. Maybe she's not the one, right? And so I think we fully get that before you enter into a marriage and it's a lock. Yeah. Well, you have to be able to. What are you going to do? You have to be able to kind of take care of yourself. Yeah. And do a lot of things maybe you wouldn't do in the same way. Yeah. Where you're still in a married relationship. So that is necessary. But I think what happens is some people will often. Well, we said it right. It's take all of that in to the relationship. And that shift doesn't occur sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it is a beautiful thing to be a strong and powerful woman. But when we're talking about in the context of your lifelong relationships or your marriages, does that become more important than your relationship? And that's where I think we become so fixated on whether or not you're independent. And so here, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. In terms of being in the word and knowing what the word says and going into Ephesians 5 and looking at what God says that the woman's role should be as it's laid out in the word, for years, I'm like, submission in the way that I understood it just did not fit with how I have been trained, how I have been raised. What does that mean to submit? And so I really had to get into Bible study. I really had to study that and learn it and seek godly wisdom and then define it for myself. And I encourage you to do the same. And so does that mean if you are in a role or you make a decision to be in submission to your husband? And again, I always say, because the man is called to submit under the authority of God. And so does that mean that you're giving up anything in order to do that? And the answer is no. And so, again, I encourage you to get in the word and really kind of dig into that for yourself. So what often happens is who I was at work really wasn't actually who I was at home. It wasn't. That's true. And so people would be surprised to know, and you often reference how and who I was at work, what my job required for me to do and be, and all of the facets of doing that job, whether that's being a soldier or being a nurse or being a supervisor or being a leader,
y'all,
who is completely different than who I was at home.
Wendy would be sitting up her desk. If you've seen Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
that is not true.
Wendy be up in that joint listen here. This is how it's gonna be. It was crazy. She'd be in that joint like calling shots. Come on, there's somebody up here they know. It was crazy. I'm like, wow, I would not want to work in this joint. Let's go. Oh
my goodness. Here's the thing. Being who you need to be when you need to be it, I think is what that comes back to, right? So Ashley kind of spoke to that a little bit. And I even said when we talked about the snake being in the house, that when you're not here, then my capability and my role changes a little bit. I man up in your absence. But I am not battling you when you're here. Yeah. And I think if I don't say anything else, I want to say that probably again, right? There is no power struggle when we're both here. There is none of this. I'm trying to outman my man, because that's not a desire that I have. Right. I mean, now we're competitive. I mean, we are quite competitive.
We are. The truth is, all right, this is a long time ago, y'all. It's been a minute. But when we were
the egg toss,
the egg toss. We're not talking about the egg toss. That's a sore subject for Wendy. Still, it's been like 100 years. Yes. No, I'm talking about racing home from wherever we were, work, the store. Wendy will speed and do dangerous things to win. It's crazy, man. Look,
well, because you said it was a race. I
mean, and we didn't have to say it was a race. We'd be sitting there in the parking lot.
You started that.
Skirt, gone.
You started. Okay.
And anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that this is you, because I wrote it down because you said seek God and define what the word is telling you, right? Understand what the word is telling you. Yes, that's a word for you brothers. I'm telling you, because a lot of times we determine what right looks like based on what we saw growing up, and we try to recreate that. Well, I would suggest to you that you forget about everything you saw growing up. Yeah. Not that maybe it was even the right thing for your parents, but what do you pick up out of the word? Because oftentimes we put pressure on our spouse to be something that we saw versus to be who they are supposed to be, who they're purposed to be.
And I think that really becomes important. And I don't want to miss an opportunity to talk about being rightly matched, right? Because the thing that allows me to be the strong woman that I am is that I have a supportive husband who, and we were talking about that earlier, you support and encourage my individuality to an extent. But you do.
They better know I'm back there.
Oh my goodness, to an extent. But I mean, if we really being 100% honest, I'll take you back to the word in Proverbs 31. The Proverbs 31 woman. I mean, she had her own business. She was a good wife. She was a good mother. True. She was a good citizen in the community. It speaks to women being strong, and many women throughout the Bible were very strong examples of powerful women. But also when you understand, and I like the way that Lisa said it, independence is about your ability to handle things, right? Being able to know how, know where, know when, all of those things, and being equipped with that, but recognizing that you don't always have to exercise it.
Yeah.
Right.
So in other words, don't call me when I'm down like 500 miles away, standing up on a stool saying, "Hey, there's a spider in the house." Nah, you're gonna have to get that one, baby.
But when we're called into marriage, into covenant, it is about really the mutual dependence on each other.
Yes.
At different times, being able to be what each other needs, sacrificing self, but also doing what makes us better together.
Yes.
Right. And so it's what we both contribute. And, often we talk about people that say, or discuss people that say, well, I want to maintain my own identity, and I want to be who I was. I want to still hang out with all my friends and have me time and go away and do. That's not specifically what we're talking about. But if that's you, then the real question is, okay, does your spouse support that? If your spouse supports that, then that is an amazing and wonderful thing. If it's a point of contention or friction, then it's something that you really need to talk about and really kind of dig into what that's really about. Yep. Is it freedom from your marriage or relationship that you're seeking, or is it something else? Yeah. And so I just want to kind of cover, because this covers a whole, I mean, this really could be like an 8-part series.
An 8-part series, maybe. And so, but it really does cover a lot. And I'm glad you covered that, because, once you get married, there's all kinds of negotiations that begin. Yeah. And half of them I didn't even think about. It's just like, okay, we'll get married, and, some things will change, but there's some things I'm going to do. And then for me, it became, okay, you know what, this thing right here probably to make Wendy comfortable, or maybe it's just not a good look for me as a married person or whatever. And so I started making some adjustments. Some of those adjustments didn't come early because I just didn't think about it. Yeah. Right. And so, but a lot of people take those adjustments, that sacrifice that you have to make, and take it as, you know what, I am selling myself. I'm giving up too much. I'm looking too dependent. Right. And I can't give up all this, because what's going to be my fallback? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So, that's good. That's good. And so, Bunny, thank you for sharing that. Liberated Through Submission by P.B. Wilson, she says, is an excellent read. God's plan and what the true roles look like in marriage. Thank you. We're going to check that out. Absolutely. I mean, there are so many different resources out there. And so, we try to be a good resource for you guys. And we appreciate that you come in here every week and you allow us to share with you some of our own experiences. And we'd love to hear about yours. And so for all of you that said, yes, you're independent, and or that you are raising your daughters to be independent and not need a man, let's look at, the rest of the story. So what does it look like when you choose to need a man? Right. And so there is being independent and not needing a man. And you may not, but what if you choose to? And so Antoinette Brunson and a few others have said, that there is, I think Ashley also said that there's kind of it's like great. I mean, I felt great when I found a man who I could trust.
that I could depend on, that supports me, so that I could kind of take off and not have to be in charge all the time. And I said that to you very early. I mean, being a leader is a huge responsibility, and it wears on you. And so while, yes, I'm a natural leader, I really kind of welcomed not having to lead all the time, not in that way.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this question, because to me, this is kind of an elephant in the room type question.
Yeah.
All right. Because you made a decision, right, to come fully into this relationship, in this marriage, as many people do, giving 100%.
Yeah.
And then you get hurt along the way.
Oh, yes.
So what then? Because it's reasonable, because some people actually stay. Well, a lot of people leave, but some stay, and then they decide, you know what, I'm staying, but you're not going to get me again.
Yes.
And so they build up that reserve, that stockpile, that protection.
What's your question?
My question is, are you doing that? No, it's like, how do you get back to a place where you can sit here and say, you know, I'm able to submit to this man and I trust this man?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, it took a long time. So I just want to say that it wasn't instant, and it took a long time. But what it required was that I really recognized that all of my trust didn't fully need to be in you, because you know, I mean, you're a man, and as humans, we're going to disappoint each other. We're going to betray each other. We're going to do things to hurt each other, not intentionally, but it will happen. And so I really had to have and come into alignment and full dependence on God. Trust in God first. And only when I did that was I able to then kind of move through and move back through reestablishing and allowing you to reestablish trust with me, because it was gone. I mean, and I was hurt, and it was like, okay. And I did. I mean, what that caused me to do was, I'm like, you know what? I can do whatever I want right now. I can do whatever I want for as long as I want, and you have absolutely nothing to say about it. I mean, you know, and I was kind of like that for a minute. And I was just like, you know, hey, I could stay up, I could eat crackers in the bed.
I'm gonna take your truck.
I could just get in the car and leave you with the kids. I mean, you know, and it was a response. It was an in the moment emotional response, because I had been hurt.
Yep.
And so, and initially I wanted to hurt you back, but as I really kind of worked through and sought, yes, it's sought. I was going to say seeked that, sought the Lord in that, as I really kind of, you know, because what I wanted was healing. What I wanted was to be whole. What I wanted was to trust you again. What I wanted was for love to be the biggest and the overall thing that really ruled our relationship. And I didn't want to be defined by what went wrong. Right. And so because those are the things that I kind of worked to and could then get to a place where that's where I knew what I wanted, then it was about really seeking God and how to get there, right? Because it wasn't like, okay, well, hey, I'm just going to forgive you and it's all going to go back and we are just going to be wonderful as if nothing happened.
No,
it wasn't that. It wasn't that. And some people are able to do that, but some people aren't. And even in walking through that, yes, being independent. And so now here's what really happened, because we shared this story. I said to you when we had that conversation, why did you wait until after we closed on this house? You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was right there, like 0.2 seconds. I'm like, oh, so now I'm like in like deeper. Why'd you wait until after we closed on this house? Because that was like on the surface. I mean, I was real about that thing. And, you know, just the reality and the weight of all that. And so I know, because a lot of women have shared with me that there's so much invested, right? It's not just me and who I am. It's my trust. It's my belief in you. It's my love. And I'm giving you all this. And you're not taking care of it.
Yes.
And so the response couldn't be, though, that I took it all away from you and never allowed you to work your way back. Now, that was a decision. And a lot of what we're talking about and sharing is about the decision that you make.
Yeah.
It is a decision to be independent, and it's a decision to be dependent. It's also a decision to sacrifice. Yeah.
No,
Does that answer what you were?
Perfectly.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I try.
I appreciate you. So I was going through a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions right there. I was like, talk for 2 more minutes so I can make sure I pull this thing all the way back together.
Yeah.
But I think that it's our job, right, as husbands to create this environment where that interdependence, that reliance on each other can happen, right? Where because even though after you make a mistake like that, for me, there's kind of a belief you'll never get it back, but you have to live in as if you will and do everything it requires.
That's good.
Because if you don't, then all of a sudden now you're kind of beginning to protect yourself and listen to, divorce lawyers and all that. And so ultimately it requires vulnerability, complete and total vulnerability. It requires that you put yourself out there to be crushed and trust that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's good for both of us.
Yes,
on both sides of that.
Yeah.
And I also think too, in terms of the vulnerability and assuming that dependence and that submission, I just want to be clear that it's mutual submission.
Yeah.
And that for us, the thing that brought us through that was not honestly our desire to get through it. That wasn't what it was at the time.
Yeah.
But it was really the grace of God at that time and how he was working in our lives. Had we not been at that place at that time, we probably would not be here at this time.
That's right.
And I think we really know that.
Yeah.
I mean, and so we try to share that as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we don't share that, then it's easy to make assumptions. We come to some like extreme conclusions based on what we see, like rapid conclusions about where people are, where they've been, what their life is like. And you just don't know until you know, right? Because we definitely do not look like what we've been through.
Yeah, but I am so thankful for you. I'm thankful for our marriage. I'm thankful for our opportunities to be able to continue to work on and grow our relationship despite the things that have happened.
Yeah.
And when we talk about this whole idea of marriage, it's a partnership that we are both contributing to this. And so I want to be able to have my whole self contribute to this marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm independent in how I choose to contribute to the marriage, independent of whatever it is that you would have me do. Right. You know what I mean by that? And so there is my desire. I mean, there's the way I want you to be, and then there's the way that you are.
Right.
I have to accept whoever you are every day.
That's what you say, right?
Every day.
And you do pretty well at that, actually.
Yeah, I do.
I can tell those days you're like, no, I'm not really having it.
Yes.
Today.
And that day ends early. I go to bed early so that I can get a head start on accepting him for who he is going to be the next day.
That's so funny. Sometimes
That's
it's
what
necessary.
happens.
It takes some work.
That's what happens.
Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but our time is getting close. But thank you all for all your comments. Y'all are the best.
Yes.
Y'all encouraging. But there's no but. So I just think that ultimately we have to think about where the dependence really lies, and the dependence is about depending on God, full submission to God and God's plan, right, and His purpose for our lives and our relationships. So I think that's enough. It's getting late.
It's getting like we've been here for a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're here on Mondays at 7 here on Facebook, on YouTube, every week that we can be. And we try to let you guys know when we're not going to be, so we're going to try to get it in next week. And next week, we're going to come back and finish out the keys to taking your marriage to the next level. You could probably drop this one in there too. This is kind of a next level.
Maybe. And we might
know.
drop this one in there, but if we don't hit that because something else comes along, whatever, don't hang your hat on it, people.
Jay said that was almost funny.
Oh wow, that's hilarious.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So don't want to miss an opportunity before we pray and go out. Thank you guys for all the love. We of course want you to share this with someone you think may benefit. We hope that you get an opportunity to listen to our song. We're just so thankful again and blessed. We were blessed by JC for even agreeing to do that for us because he believes in what we're doing. And that has just been, humbling. It's been humbling. Extremely humbling.
Really it is. But the process, y'all, is crazy because called them up and said, hey, this is what we want to do. Because, we play songs here and we don't own the rights and all that business. And I'm like, JC, we want to own the rights, man.
Yeah, we want to, we want to own the rights.
We need your help. And so he just asked me some questions, about what it is we're trying to do here and, kind of what we wanted the song to say. Yeah. And he went and came back. I don't know. It was like less than 2 days. Yes. It was done. Yes. So this brother has an amazing God-given gift.
He really does. And he went back and forth with us a lot because, I was like, picky. It's kind of a high pitched sound right there. I don't like too much.
She's like, can you take this hair on there and you split it like 3 different ways? That's kind of
we had a lot of creative control on this.
Yeah, the song was fire. Yeah, thank you, Christina Janae. Yes, it is. It's crazy. Yeah. And so we're gonna pray. Then we're gonna play the song mostly in its entirety. Yes. For the most part. Yes. So hang out for that if you haven't heard it. If you have, still go, stream it, like it, put it on your playlist, and tell your friends put it on their playlist.
And let us know what you think.
Who knows?
Oh, wait.
What?
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
I was just gonna say we want you guys to make videos to our song.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because we are getting ready for our official video, and we want to use any videos that you all share with us potentially. So it's a contest. Videos of you listening to our song, lip syncing to our song. You can make them 15-second TikTok videos, whatever it is. Just DM us with your video, and we're serious about this one. Sometimes we throw some requests out there, and y'all are like, that's not for me, but this one is for you. We want to be able to give back to you because the song really was created for the Marriage Shop, and you guys are the reason why there is a Marriage Shop.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And there's going to be a dance to that.
Yes, there's going to be a dance to that, and we've seen it. The dance is hot.
Oh my! Right? Y'all ain't ready for this. You've not seen anything quite like this.
Yes. So, yes.
Anyway, but more to follow on that. But we're going to pray. Really. Okay. Heavenly Father, we just come to you. Just thank you for being God. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross and for the example that we were given. And we thank you for the institution of marriage and what that means. We thank you for everyone here. We ask that you bless each and every one of them, bless their homes, bless their families, and just whatever it is they're believing in you for, God. We just ask that you make that real for them. We just thank you. We can't praise you enough for what you've done. And so we just stand in excitement for what you're going to do next. So we thank you. We love you. We pray these and other blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So that's it, y'all. Look, have a great evening. And we will see you, I don't know, next week.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we need those videos for real. Stop playing. We need the videos. So
yes.
Start your videos.
You gonna play the song?
I'm gonna play the song. I'm sorry. I'm all.
So if you haven't heard it, here is Lifetime featuring JC.
That's it. Bye, y'all.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's your boy JC. I'm in the mood, love, yeah. Lately I've been constantly thinking about you, babe. You drive me crazy, yeah. And girl, I want this, got me all up in my feelings. Over the feeling, yeah. I knew the first time I laid eyes on you that you would be here forever. I'm not being arrogant, and I still can't take my eyes off you. 'Cause you made me better, so much better. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, baby. I love your kindness, I love your confidence. Ooh, you're the finest. So glad you're mine, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't wanna be with nobody else. Give me your love, that's all the wealth I need. Baby, you're priceless to me, yeah. To love you for a lifetime, I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa. Promise I'ma be around, I'ma always hold you down. Won't you come and hold me now? Won't you come and hold me now? I just got a new coupe, yeah, I know I got a roof, but I always keep it down with you, yeah. And I know they see, girl, you're my queen. Beauty speaks for itself loud and clear, yeah. So throw it in the air. It's the sweetest sound to follow my ear. And I want the world to know I'll love you forever. And that's a long time, babe. But I got time for you, baby. I'm in the mood